Good evening and welcome to News Hour. I am Mbalu Bangura. Coming up in this edition, President Ernest Bai Koroma witnesses the civic laying out ceremony of the late Honorable Justice Maitland Emrick Tola Thompson. Parliament ratifies 4 agreements to the tune of over $100 million to improve on electricity and effective health service delivery in the country. Integrated Geoinformation and Environmental Services, INTIGEMS, organizes training on climate change and other environmental issues. Old Girls of the Young Women's Christian Association Vocational Institute awards scholarships to some students of the institute. All these stories and more, including business and sports, in this edition of News Hour. Stay with us. Parliament has ratified 4 agreements to the tune of over $100 million to improve electricity and effective health service delivery in the country. This will be achieved through integrated and coordinated systems and processes in the West African sub-region. Let's now join Mahawa Aliyu for that report.
Vote on proceeding for October 7th. They are adopted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. They are adopted.
The following agreements were ratified. A financing agreement under the first phase Regional Disease Surveillance System Enhancement Project between the Republic of Sierra Leone and the International Development Association. A financing agreement for health service delivery and system support project between the Republic of Sierra Leone and the International Development Association. The Ebola Recovery and Reconstruction Trust Fund grant between the Republic of Sierra Leone and the International Development Association. And the dollar credit line agreement between the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone and the Export-Import Bank of India. Presenting the loans prior to ratification, the Ministry of Finance, Momo Vande, said that the first agreement amounting to $30 million, inclusive of $10 million grant, was aimed at putting in place an effective regional disease control and surveillance mechanism for humans and animals to tackle any form of epidemics. He said the second and third agreement aggregates to $15 million, including a grant of $5 million, is to improve and increase coverage on child-related service delivery, noting emergencies and effective community engagement. He said that the fourth agreement, amounting to $78 million, aimed at improving the electricity transmission lines from Bumbuna to Waterloo, cognizance of the regional transmission project with a view of generating and distributing effective and reliable service supply to the consumers. Members of Parliament on both sides of the House who spoke to the motion described the loan and grant as timely and non-controversial. They also called on the Ministry of Health and Sanitation through the Ministry of Finance to urgently consider and treat the issue of recruitment of training and qualified nurses as an emergency. The MP said the nation should utilize trained nurses to support and improve service delivery in various medical facilities in the country, whilst noting the need for health incentives. They, however, described the absence of the minister and officials of the Ministry of Health and Sanitation and encouraged the Ministry of Finance to negotiate loans by harmonizing the interest rate and avoid excessive tax exemptions. SLBC News, Mahawa Aliyu, Freetown.
The Old Girls of the Young Women's Christian Association Vocational Institute, YWCA, has awarded scholarships to students of the Institute as a way to support them in their cause. The Minister of Lands, Country Planning and the Environment awarded the highest number of scholarships to the students. Ibrahim Samura now reports.
These are recipients of the scholarships provided by the All Girls Association of the Institutes, and it is for one academic year. The awardees are carefully selected after being interviewed by the association. Students in the Department of Commercial, Food and Beverages benefited from the scheme. A member of the YWCA Vocational Institute All Girl Association, Major Ifemia Cole, said they provided the scholarships for the students to motivate them in their various causes. She said funds were raised by members at home and abroad and admonished the students to take their academic work seriously, whilst calling on parents to give their children the necessary support needed. President of the YWCA Vocational Institute All Girls Association, Agatha Vandi, told the beneficiaries that they will be monitoring their performances and encourage them to work harder for them not to lose the scheme, saying that many of their colleagues are looking for such opportunities. She said the Lands Minister Diana Konomani provided the highest number of scholarships for the students and encouraged them to take advantage of the offer. Principal of the YWCA Vocational Institute, Grace Fuller, lauded the efforts of the All Girls Association for coming to the aid of the student, saying that majority of the students came from a very poor background. She appealed to the association to increase the number of awardees in the subsequent academic year, describing the input as big starts and at the right time. A total of 12 students benefited from this year's scholarships awards. In another engagement, the All Girls Association of the YWCA Vocational Institute joined the Minister of Lands, Dana Finda Kondomani, in celebrating her birthday on the 13th of October for a contribution to the school as an old girl. She was also a senior prefect of the institute during her years at the YWCA. The president of the All Girls Association of the YWCA Vocational Institute, Agatha Vandi, prayed for the life of Finda Dana Konomani and commended her for the contribution to the institute. Madam Vandi said that Madam Konomani has proven leadership qualities long before this time.
The Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs has given over 30 million hymns to 50 Ebola survivors. The money was given to them as a livelihood support under the Presidential Recovery Priority. Francis Danema now reports.
Even though the Ebola disease is being defeated, thousands of survivors and orphans have been left behind by the virus. The President has also launched a recovery plan with the aim of regaining what the Ebola virus made the country lose economically. This money was given to beneficiaries to ensure they embark on businesses or solve problems that are affecting them. Addressing beneficiaries, the Key Results Area Lead Post-Ebola Recovery Priorities, Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Sayomara, called on the beneficiaries to invest the money on viable businesses. He said the government is also supporting Ebola survivors to learn skills that will make them self-reliant.
Because that's the only way we make survive, we empower them. We make them feel very important. Now the monies we're giving, for instance, in those 7 districts, is just to encourage them as a stipend.
Beneficiaries expressed joy for the support and promised to use it judiciously.
In observance of the International Day of the Girl Child, The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation held a forum on women's awareness and empowerment. The theme for this year's International Day of the Girl Child is Girls' Progress equals to Girls' Progress. As part of the day, the Director General and Ambassador at Large launched the Foreign Service Women in Development. Hawanatu Conte has the story.
The Foreign Service Women in Development is an initiative of the Minister of State 2 and the Gender Desk office in the ministry to empower and support women. The United Nations states that there are 1.1 billion girls full of talents and creativity. However, violence, discrimination, and the lack of equal opportunities serve to prevent the dreams and potentials of many of them. The International Day of the Girl Child is the United Nations call for action for increased investment in girls' education to be productive women and contribute to national development. Director General and Ambassador at Large, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Khadijatu Basir, reaffirmed their commitment as part of the global efforts to ensure a world free of discrimination for women and girls. She emphasized the importance of social, economic, and political investment in girls as fundamental human solution to breaking the intergenerational transmission of poverty, violence, exclusion, and addressing unique challenges facing girls around the world.
I am indeed gratified and proud that our women of this noble ministry are also focusing on women's empowerment through our selfless efforts and willingness to make a positive difference. On that note too, I want to recognize the role of the First Lady. She's been very active in empowering women.
Ambassador Basir reminded them that they should not lose sight of the fact that girls in rural settings are disadvantaged and encourage them to be more vocal and focused on their approach to ensure equal opportunities for girls. Giving an overview of the Foreign Service Women in Development Group, one of the supervisors, Juliana Fala, said the group will give foreign service women the opportunity to develop themselves. She said the observance of the International Day of the Girl Child by the Foreign Service Women is dedicated to the campaign for the removal of all stereotyped traditional barriers to achieving equality for girls. Director of Protocol, Ricky McCarthy, said the observation of the International Day of the Girl Child started some 4 years ago to eradicate discrimination among girls. The roles of family, religion, societal, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and Co-Educational School on the Girl Child in Sierra Leone were discussed during plenary sessions. Hawanatu Conte reporting for SLBC TV News.
The Independent Police Complaints Board has officially opened its headquarters, launched its website, and the validation of focus group engagement report. The ceremony took place at its headquarters, New Englandville in Freetown. The Independent Police Complaints Board is mandated to investigate complaints about potential police abusers. Daphne Kema Macaulay now reports.
The issues surrounding the excesses of the Sierra Leone police have been the subject of debate in different quarters in the country. People who are aggrieved with actions of the police usually find it difficult to seek redress. It was against this backdrop that the Independent Police Complaints Board was established in 2013 by the government of Sierra Leone. It is a non-departmental public body with an independent board to investigate complaints of serious nature and to increase the public's confidence in policing. Launching the Independent Police Complaints Board's headquarters, website, and the validation of focus group engagement reports, the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Major Sengu Kuruma, said the IPCB was established to reform the security sector in the country.
IPCB is a brand new venture and in search of the best and most effective means of marketing itself, its vision, mission, values, and at the same time open up all available and accessible lines and means of communicating in an interactive manner with the public at large. I recognize with immense gratitude the demonstrated commitment of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, in making the event of this day a reality. We owe a special debt of gratitude to the country manager who is on the verge of leaving the shores of Sierra Leone. You have served this nation well. Your professional inputs have been immense benefit to us at various times. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me a great pleasure on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the Honorable Vice President, the government and people of Sierra Leone, to formally declare the newly renovated IPCB office open and launch the IPCB Focus Group Engagement Report.
Valentine Collier is the chairman of the Independent Police Complaint Board. He said the board is mandated to look into complaints such as deaths in police custody, police motor vehicle accidents, the excessive use of force by the police involving injury, and the use of firearms by police.
So we go back to the question of how do we recruit competent civil recruitment, public service commission? I think that has value, and I think these are issues I think we should be looking at. Because we're talking of Sierra Leone not for today, Sierra Leone of tomorrow. And for tomorrow, you have to plan today for the Sierra Leone of tomorrow. And we can't keep on having the kind of situations we're having. And I would think that you kick the man on the ball because clients are forgetting about it. It comes to a time that he cannot stand the kicking anymore.
Supito Okaje is the country director of the United Nations Development Programme.
With the right policies that will help harness the energies and combined with all the natural endowments would make this country one of the most blessed nations in the world. I look forward to that.
The focus group engagements gave opportunities for citizens to make their complaints, of which they report details and be validated. The vision of the IPCB is to ensure that the Sierra Leone police is responsive to the needs and concerns of the people of Sierra Leone. Its mission is to build public trust and confidence in the security of the country.
St. Edward's Catholic Primary School, 4th Street in Freetown, has turned 150 after its founding by Holy Ghost Fathers in their quest to provide quality education for the children of Sierra Leone. The celebration, hosted by the authorities and the Old Boys, are to celebrate achievements of the school and education sector in the country. Ibrahim Samoura reports.
The St. Edward's Catholic Primary School was established in 1866 by the Holy Ghost missionaries to complement the efforts of the government in providing access to quality education for the children of Sierra Leone and the development of the educational sector. The celebration brought together past principals, pupils of the school, and the Catholic mission. At a special mass held at the school grounds on 4th Street, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Freetown, the Most Reverend Dr. Edward Tamba Charles, described St. Edward's as a humble king who devoted to his faith, love, and cared for the poor. He said the school has touched many lives and also contributed to the development of the country. The Administrator Sacred Heart Cathedral, the Reverend Father Joseph Miller, recalled the statement of the late South African President Nelson Mandela that education is the backbone for nation building, underscoring the importance of education to the country's development. The Reverend Father Miller called on the government to invest more to improve on the educational standards in the country, whilst expressing worries for the drop in the educational standard in the country. He said good number of teachers are not on the payroll, including teachers of their schools.
Most of the teachers working now in our schools have not been approved. Some have gone for over 5-6 years, 3, and the rest. And those that have rendered their services, at some point in time, vouchers will come, even their names have not been there. And those that have retired, go to nursing up to today, their papers have not been processed. They are still languishing, suffering. And you think the teaching field is lucrative, who want to come there? Let's talk about it. Today, if I can talk, we will speak English constructively, or the priest here, or even our archbishop, or even the president, doctors and nurses, because they had an opportunity to go through the hands of teachers, or to sit in classrooms. And when you try, for instance, to downplay the value of teachers, you are killing education. It is serious.
Spokesperson of the St. Edward's Primary School Old Boys Association, Amasara Jallo, said several activities have been lined up to celebrate the school's 150 years of academic excellence, ranging from flag-raising ceremony, cleaning of the school, and a football match. Mr. Jallo said the school has produced influential people serving in various capacities at home and abroad. He highlighted a number of challenges facing this development of the school, such as staffing and squatters among.
Conservation Society Sierra Leone has taken pupils from different schools to the Takugama Chimpanzee Sanctuary to teach them about wildlife as part of the celebration of this year's Wildlife Week. The theme for the celebration is Wildlife Matters. The pupils were also taken through the sanctuary to inspire them to grow love for wildlife so that they can protect them in the future. Francis Danema now reports.
As the saying goes, catch them young. The Conservation Society brought these children to the Takugama to see the need to preserve wildlife species, especially endangered ones like chimpanzees. The children were excited to learn about chimpanzees. A worker of the Takugama Sanctuary, Moses Kapia, informed the children that chimpanzees are about to go into extinct, a reason why a sanctuary has been created to preserve them. He described hunting, deforestation, and trap setting as enemy of wildlife conservation. Education Officer, Conservation Society Sierra Leone, Maria Makagbo, said she was impressed with the tour, stressing that the children gave their cooperation to learn more about wildlife. She called on Sierra Leoneans to conserve the forest and wildlife. Senior Biodiversity Officer, Conservation Society, Papani Baisise, informed the children that people depend on the forest and wildlife to generate income through logging and hunting. He called on the public to be eating domestically reared animals so as to save the lives of the wildlife. Papani Baisise informed the children that his organization is supporting some communities with livelihood so as to prevent them from deforesting and killing wildlife.
The intrusion of the Shabro River on Bonth Island was increased community expansion in underdeveloped coastal zones and has also exposed the lives of many Bonthonians and other Sierra Leoneans to the risks of coastal storms and floods, according to studies carried out by an environment-friendly NGO, Green Scenery. Ben Conte sent us this report.
Bonth Sabro was once dubbed Christmas Island because of its touristic potentials, an expert in family reunion, but now lies in ruins. The islanders only have respite for the intrusion of the Sabro River during the dry season when the river recedes. The intrusion of the Sabro River on the island when the river breaks its banks has become worrisome as the flood barriers at the sea face have collapsed. Constructed during the colonial era, the barrier at the sea face has not been rehabilitated, forcing the Sabro River to intrude the central market at Murphy's Island, Victoria Road and King Street axis. According to Green Scenery, a local NGO and environmental watchdog, water intrusion has triggered disastrous impact on Bont Sabro Island, including high levels of floods. The intrusion of the Sabro River, according to Green Scenery, has also forced the relocation of communities, congestion of dwelling houses in affected communities, and exposures to rapid spread of diseases and conflict. Migratory fishing, whereby fishermen move further from the continental shelf, loss of communities and settlement, declination of business functions, including fishing and other businesses, have deteriorated drastically. Several surveys have shown that the only solution to the water intrusion on both Sabro Island is the construction of quality retaining wall at the sea face. That quality drainage systems be constructed in both municipal, likewise other coastal zones, and that regeneration of mangroves should be effective along coastal lines, and that deforestation of mangroves or forest along coastal lines must be discouraged. Although the global warming phenomenon, El Nino, cannot be ruled out for the intrusion of the Sabro River on both islands, the collapse of sea barrier could be the main cause for the intrusion.
The government has made available 41 universal anesthesia machines with a $60 million project covering procurement and training for capacity building of nurse anesthetists, community health officer anesthetists, and anesthetic technicians countrywide. The machines are designed to work in hot environment, provide safe anesthetic and patient surgical care, empower staff, and complete surgical care. Joseph Stanley reports.
Will help reduce maternal mortality and positively address emergency and comprehensive obstetric maternal care. Addressing the launching and training of trainers ceremony at the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital Training Center, the Deputy Minister of Health Zulaihat Cooper described health as the only industry that caters for every discipline in the area of national development and economic growth, and expressed delight over the move taken by government to procure the equipment. She expressed appreciation for the procurement of such vital equipment within the agenda for prosperity in striving to build a healthy nation and a resilient health system. The Deputy Minister too commended the local staff of the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital and the Johns Hopkins University and Gradient for partnering with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation for making the training possible in all districts and regional hospitals. The Executive Director, Austria Anesthesia Health Outcome Research Group, Dr. John Sampson, said the project is an extension of previous projects which the medical superintendent of the hospital to provide anesthesia and surgical care, and commended the government for the prompt action for the procurement of the machines.
This project that we're doing today is an extension of a previous project that we did with Dr. Karoma here in Sierra Leone from 2010 to 2013. We actually introduced the universal anesthesia machine here as a way to provide anesthesia care and improve surgical care. At the time, most of the anesthesia machines here would not work under Sierra Leone conditions. And so what we wanted to see is if an anesthesia machine that was designed for a low resource situation where you had power interruptions and oxygen tank interruptions could work here. And it was successful. It proved that it could work here.
The Chief Executive Officer, Gradient Health System in New York, USA, Stephen Ruggie, described the universal anesthesia machines as unique that has the entire requirement for surgery and emergency situation. The specialist anesthetist and training coordinator, Dr. Michael Koroma, referred to the training of over 100 nurse anesthetists over the years by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation to provide care in all districts across the country.
The government of Sierra Leone has procured about 40 anesthesia machines for the people of Sierra Leone. These machines are going to be distributed to all government hospitals in Sierra Leone. That means Kailaon, Kono, all government hospitals are going to benefit from this anesthesia machine. Now this machine is very, very, very important in the sense that even if we don't have oxygen in cylinders, or in the event of power failure, the machine can work well.
The senior specialist gynecologist and medical superintendent Dr. Alimami Koroma revealed that the availability of the machines and the training of biomedical technicians will go a long way in paving the way for the reduction of the high incidence of maternal mortality and help improve patient care.
Acting Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security, the Honorable Marie Jallow, accompanied by Chief Agriculturist Francis Sanko and senior technical staff of the ministry, have completed working visits to parts of the south and eastern regions. The working visit took the teams to Bo, Kenimam, Kailaung, and Pujon districts to inspect activities in the fields and identify challenges. Ibrahim Samura again.
Addressing farmers, councillors, traditional rulers, and other major stakeholders in the sector in the district she visited, Honorable Marie Jallow said that her ministry has created an enabling environment by supporting farmers with seed rice, fertilizer, farm tools, and other planting materials for farmers to increase the yield, which she said is the current focus of her ministry. She called on them to go into commercial farming, which she said will not earn only more money, but will also reduce the foreign exchange used by government for the importation of rice. She also underscored the importance of women in agricultural production, as they account for 60% of the job in the farms, and commended them for organizing themselves into a forum, which she noted is a laudable venture. She called on the women farmers to join the forum. The Honorable Acting Minister expressed satisfaction with the level of activities in the field and assured them of her ministry's support. The National Coordinator East National Youth Commission, Sandine Kongo Sama, commended the ministry for providing funds and seed rice for the youth, which he said has created jobs for the youth in the districts. He cited drying floors, stores, and rice mill as some of their challenges.
The International School Limited has launched its 60th anniversary celebrations at New England in Freetown. The school was established in 1956 to provide education for children of expatriates working in Sierra Leone at that time. The launching took place at New England Vale in Freetown. Daphne Kima Macaulay again.
The International School Limited launched its 60th anniversary on Wednesday to celebrate the successes of the school since its establishment in 1956. According to a senior teacher of the school, William Johnson, the International School Limited was established as a daycare center for children of expatriates working in Sierra Leone and later into a primary school. Paul Findlay, a past pupil, is one of them who is fortunate enough to be part of the celebration. He said he and his wife are on a one-week holiday and were thrilled to learn that the school still exists and that they are celebrating 60 years of existence in the country. Speaking about achievements, the senior teacher said the secondary school is one of many achievements the school can boast of.
Over the years, this school has been topping the lists of schools in terms of doing in their performances in the National Primary School exam, the Becker, and even the WASP, because the records are there. I remember one year it was, and I know the people's name by the name of Nathaniel Williams.
A past pupil of the International School and keynote speaker, Alfred Akibobets, who now works for the National Revenue Authority, said he attended the school some 30 years ago.
The International School Primary School, founded 1956, 60 years ago. So this flag will be behind you here. Very proud celebration.
Executive radio producer of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Hawa Barry, also a past student of the International School Limited, explained her experience as a student of the school.
It's an exciting moment since I started NOSI to class 6 when I left for the annual Memorial Secondary School. You know, it's been more than 30 years since, you know, we had this celebration. We never had anything like, you know, 10th anniversary celebration or maybe 20 or 40. But for the 60th anniversary celebration, I think it's forthcoming and it's timely. And I think it's exciting, you know, meeting old people, you know, today seeing somebody, because during my days we had so many foreign students, you know, in our class. We had Indians, you know, Koreans, Japanese people. So I think it's worth celebrating anyway.
Executive radio producer, Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Hawa Barry, and in that report by Daphne Kima Macaulay. His Excellency the President, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, has witnessed a civic laying out ceremony of the late Honorable Justice Maitland Emmerich Tola Thompson, who passed away on the 26th of September at the age of 77. The civic laying out ceremony for the chairman of the PPRC was held at the Miata Conference Hall, Brookfields in Freetown.
That's way. Left. Left.
The Chief Administrator of Freetown City Council said the country has lost a true son of the soil in the distinguished and remarkable person of the Honorable Justice Maitland Emmerich Tola Thompson. He added that indeed the vacuum created by the irreparable loss is so huge that the nation of Sierra Leone could only rely on time to heal the wounds and mend the gaps so created by the... He said that the Freetown City Council family, represented by His Worship the Mayor, got the news of the passing away of the late man with great sadness and melancholy, who died on Monday, the 26th of September this year. Giving tribute on behalf of the family, the eldest daughter of 4 children of the late Honorable Justice Maitland Emmerich Tola Thompson, Madam Glenna Tola Thompson, said the late man was more than a husband and father, which is not a cliché, and to say that her father's death was a shock would be an understatement. She pointed out that as a family, they were completely blindsided, but slowly they will come to the point of acceptance that he is in a better place, at peace with himself and his conscience, that he left the stage when the applause was loudest. Madam Tola Thompson pointed out that their father could be described as a man of conviction, driven by a heightened sense of fairness and justice, and that integrity underpinned all that he did.
Daddy, and forgive me for referring to him as such, can best be described as a man of conviction, driven by a heightened sense of fairness and justice. Integrity underpinned all that he did. He wasn't seduced by flattery or the trappings of office, and certainly was not materialistic. He was an ordinary man doing extraordinary things. He was generous to a fault and we nicknamed him Father Christmas. He had a wicked sense of humor, and we learned very quickly that you don't cry too loudly in his presence, because he will coax you and say, all right, all right, all right. And then 5 minutes later, he'll laugh at you, he'll start teasing you.
Giving his tribute, a friend and a brother of the late Justice Maitland Emmerich Tola Thompson, the Ombudsman Honorable Justice Edmund Cowan, said they met at school as teenagers and have parted company at the age of 77. He disclosed that they have maintained their friendship until the late man passed away, noting that much has been said about the late Justice Tola Thompson. Therefore, he will not go over what has been said.
But so many, since Tola died, so many people have said he was a man of integrity, he was a great man, and so forth. But you see, when you say a man was a man of integrity, there are some people who will doubt it, especially in present-day Sierra Leone and present-day circumstances in the country. But I'll assure you that when they say Tola was a man of integrity, he was.
Giving tribute on behalf of the government and people of Sierra Leone, the Deputy Minister of Information and Communication, Cornelius Devoe, said until his demise, the learned gentleman served the country in various capacities, terminating with distinguished leadership as chairmanship of the Political Parties Registration Commission, PPRC. He maintained that the late man's contribution to the development of Sierra Leone cuts across almost every facet of society, from the judiciary to sports to the private sector to the church, to name but a few. In her tribute, the representative from the Political Parties Registration Commission, PPRC, said the late Justice Tola Thompson was the longest-serving chairman of the PPRC, who served for 4 years. She maintained that the late man was very instrumental in changing the misguided perception that the Commission only works during elections. The PPRC representative stated that the late Honorable Justice Maitland Emmerich Tola Thompson made the Commission relevant through his active engagements with political parties with a dream to eradicate the seemingly lack of commitment by political parties to pursue the constitutional mandate as enshrined in Section 35(1) of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone. She described the late PPRC chairman as an exemplary leader that was compassionate and passionate about his work. Giving a tribute on behalf of the judiciary, Honorable Justice Nicholas Brown-Mark said the late Honorable Justice Tola Thompson left them invariably very suddenly, although it was apparent from his health, as he was not feeling quite well for some time. He maintained that the late man was described as always their personality and a cheering personality of his lifetime, forgetting that he was immortal like all of them, and relatively he had to succumb to the cold hands of death like any other person. The president of the Sierra Leone Football Association, Aisha Johansson, said Sierra Leoneans are again mourning the loss of a great son of the soil, who not only stands for his works and deeds, but a son who, in her opinion, has an uncompromising stance for justice, honesty, loyalty, his sacrifices and service to the land and country folk. She added that the late man was an outstanding sportsman and public servant who she considers a friend and a mentor. Giving a tribute on behalf of the Sierra Leone Bar Association, the consultant partner Tana Legal Advisory, Franklin Baikago, said to his mind the late Honorable Justice Tola Thompson was clearly special and unique, a towering giant in the legal profession, a lawyer of great experience and sublime competence. He intimated the gathering that in the early years of the late man at the Prince of Wales Secondary School, he was a sprinter, cricketer and footballer, and he was in school when he was called up for international duty with the national team, even at that tender age. Giving her tribute, the acting mayor of Freetown City Council, Councillor Mary Jaya, noted that the late man's sojourning on this earth started on the 10th of May 1939, and he enjoyed a decent childhood because his father was a teacher and his mother was a businesswoman. She added that the name Justice Tala Thompson was a much respected name in Sierra Leonean society, and that the name, fame and achievements of the late man spread like the proverb, bushfire in Hamatan, within the legal circle, and guaranteed him the promotion to the Court of Appeal.
To end the news, the main points again. President Ernest Bai Koroma has witnessed the civic laying out ceremony of the late Honorable Justice Maitland Emrick Tola Thompson. Parliament has ratified 4 agreements to the tune of over $100 million to improve electricity and effective health service delivery in the country. Integrated Geoinformation and Environmental Services INTIGEMS has organized a training on climate change and other environmental issues. And all girls of the Young Women's Christian Association Vocational Institute YWCA has awarded scholarships to some students of the institutes. That's all in this edition of the news, broadcast live on the SLBC. On behalf of our news editor, Sheku Sumaila, I am Mbalu Bangura. Thanks for your attention.